Hello and welcome to Euro Football Daily, where today we're scouting Europe for three players who've made a surprising return to top form this season. With a pair of trips to North London and a former West Ham favourite, we're putting some shine on three players too often overlooked. Let's start at Tottenham. Lucas Moura. Having turned unlikely candidates like Victor Moses and even Perisic into productive wingbacks, it's perhaps not surprising that Antonio Conte saw something in Lucas Moura. But even Conte's greatest fans would not have expected the output we've seen from the 29-year-old since the Italian schemer arrived at White Hart Lane. Like many young Brazilians, Moura was originally seen as a lightweight flair player and was even compared to Neymar in his youth as a tricky winger at Sao Paulo, a reputation which led to his £38 million move to Paris Saint-Germain in 2013. But that role never fully suited the wide man, and when he eventually relocated to Spurs after 5 years in France, he was able to develop into the player he was always meant to be: intelligent, hard-working and versatile, and more comfortable supporting star teammates than taking the limelight himself. Given all that, you may be wondering what makes this explosion under Conte unlikely, but it's the sheer scale of Moura's remontada which earns him a spot on our list. With 0.4 expected goals and assists per 90 this season, Lucas is putting up the best numbers of his career at White Hart Lane. But when you cut out the miserable Nuno period, the picture is even more impressive. Under Conte, Lucas is producing 0.7 xG per 90, the same as Kane, Son, and even Cristiano Ronaldo. And at the time of writing, that's translated into 5 actual goals and assists, all since Conte's appointment, for 1 every 107 minutes. Only Son has a better hit rate for his new boss, and only Son has created more chances, meaning that for the first time since Dele Alli's decline, Spurs have more than 2 goal threats, making them less predictable and harder to contain. In addition to helping the attack, Lucas is using his incredible engine to help the midfield. His current tally of 4.3 progressive passes, those are passes which move the ball more than 10 yards upfield, is the best since he got to Tottenham, and the third best in the squad behind Skip and Højbjerg, while he ranks in the top 5% of wingers for passes into the final third. And when Tottenham lose the ball, he's always tracking back to help protect a defence in desperate need of reinforcements, with only 4 players at the club making more pressures, and just 7% of people in his position recovering the ball more often. But if one number sums up his commitment to the cause, it's his win rate on headers. Moura somehow coming out on top in 60% of his aerial duels, about the rate you'd expect from a dominant fullback or decent centre-half, not a 5'8" forward, and better than Sanchez, Emerson and Davies so far this season. Add in an outstanding 2.3 dribbles each match, far and away the best in the squad, and Moura looks like one of the most complete wingers in the Premier League, and a key piece as Conte seeks to undo the damage done by Nuno and Mourinho. If he can squeeze this production out of a previously likeable but unremarkable player, it's terrifying to imagine what the manager will do after a couple of signings. Dimitri Payet. Included in the Premier League team of the season back in 2015-16 over 19 assist Mesut Ozil, Dimitri Payet was on top of the world half a decade ago. As well as recognition in England, he made the Euro 2016 team of the tournament, and when Marseille offered him a lucrative return to France in 2017, he jumped at the chance to earn a fat paycheck from the new owners while shining on a smaller stage, torching his goodwill with West Ham fans by declining to train to force the switch. However, it wasn't as easy as Payet might have hoped. Helmed by Rudy Garcia, Andre Villas-Boas and now Jorge Sampaoli, Les Phocéens have spent the last 4 years pinballing between 5th and 2nd, and on a personal level, Payet has suffered multiple disappointments, helping Marseille to the Europa League final in 2018 only to leave the field after half an hour with a hamstring injury, a misery compounded by his side's eventual 3-0 loss to Atletico Madrid and the hammy ruling him out of France's squad for the 2018 World Cup, which they went on to win without him. His individual numbers took a hit too, but now, at 34, Payet seems to have rediscovered the form that made him such an electric entertainer in his days in East London. Having contributed just 23 goals and assists in Ligue 1 between 2018 and 2020, the midfielder produced 17 in league play last year, and at the time of writing is already on 14 goal contributions in 17 appearances this season, just 7 off his best tally with the Hammers, and on track to rival his most productive campaigns ever. Under the hood, Payet's numbers are as solid as they get. With 0.7 expected goals and assists per game, he's about as decisive on the pitch as Riyad Mahrez and Serge Gnabry, and he's currently creating a staggering 4.2 chances per 90, which is the best mark in Europe's top 5 leagues, and amazingly, the third time he's made at least 4 key passes a game in the last 5 seasons. For comparison, Kevin de Bruyne has only done it in 1 of those campaigns. Of course, Payet is not as dynamic as he used to be, and coach Sampaoli has smartly freed his playmaker from pressing, with only Cengiz Under and centre-back Duya Chaleta-Sarr closing down less often. But that's enabled the veteran to stay high and save his energy for when it matters. This term, 62% of Payet's touches are coming in the final third and the penalty area, compared to under 50% last year. He completes 5.8 progressive passes a game, a 4-year high and 13th in Ligue 1, and he's also carrying the ball forward and into the final third more, while succeeding in 63% of his dribble attempts. And if you think that's unimpressive because it's France and he's up against the Farmers, bear in mind that Leo Messi is currently completing 65% of his dribbles in Paris. Overall, Payet is playing far better than a man of his age has any right to, putting up elite creative numbers in a side which are firm favourites for a Champions League spot. Given his advanced years and the strength of the national team, we doubt it'll be enough to return to Les Bleus' lineup for the World Cup. But the man from Réunion has more than earned his curtain call in European competition next year. Alexandre Lacazette. Who could have predicted that in January 2022, Alex Lacazette would have been the starting centre-forward for an Arsenal competing for Champions League football, while Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang would have been frozen out of the squad. The Frenchman might have ended the 2020-21 campaign as the Gunners' top scorer, but he received little praise from the Emirates faithful, with multiple reports suggesting that Mikel Arteta was keen to move him on last summer, while Aubameyang was given the benefit of the doubt despite a tally of just 10 league goals. And it was widely claimed that a good season for Arsenal would require a good season for the club captain, with Laka a backup at best. However, even without the disciplinary problems which ultimately cost the Gabonese his place and his captaincy, Lacazette has deserved to regain a starting berth, and while he's not a long-term option, he's a key player in the best Arsenal side since Wenger left. After 2 years and 13 signings, Arteta has finally started to ramp up Arsenal's pressing intensity, with the club now making a defensive action for every 9 opposition passes compared to every 14 last season. And Lacazette has led by example, with 20 pressures and 2.6 tackles and interceptions each game, both ranking in the top 10% of forwards. While Aubameyang is always looking to get in behind, Lacazette's preference for dropping deep has made room for Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli to cut inside from the wings. And when they do, Lacazette is as capable of finding them as designated creators like Odegaard and Smith Rowe. The veteran creates 1.3 chances per 90, twice as many as Oba, and passes into the box 1.4 times, a strong measure of technical ability, and this time in the top 5% in his position. As a consequence, Arsenal's attack is more coherent and dangerous when he features, creating 1.8 xG per 90 with Lacazette, compared to 1.4 with Oba, the difference between an attack as good as Chelsea's and one as good as Manchester United's. Frequently criticised for putting on weight, the ex-Lyon striker seems to have rediscovered his mobility too, completing a dribble per game at a 65% success rate, a huge upgrade on Aubameyang, who at 32 is no longer a one-on-one threat, managing just 2 successful dribbles in 14 appearances so far this campaign. It's a testament to Laka's return to form that Arsenal are reportedly considering a new 2-year contract, while even previously critical supporters acknowledge that the forward is a good influence on the club's crop of talented youngsters and that his skill set should be the blueprint for the team's next attacking signing. Having joined the Gunners the summer after they dropped out of the Champions League, it would be a truly feel-good story if Alexandre Lacazette could be the one to return them to Europe's top table. So those are our 3 players making unlikely comebacks this season, but who would you have included? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, drop us a like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and you'll never miss an upload. We'll see you next time.